everybody. It's JP Karliak, co-founder of NerdsVote. We are back with more Stream the Vote today, and I am honored to be here with some of my incredible castmates from X-Men 97. Yeah. I'll have them introduce their lovely selves, starting with...
Hi, I'm Holly Chou, and I voice Jubilee.
I'm David Errigo Jr., and I voice Leech, and Mojo, and Gladiator, and Banshee, and a radio guy, and a royal messenger, and some of Ronan's fight efforts when he's getting his butt handed to him. So that's fun.
That's great. I'm Isaac Robinson Smith, and I voice Bishop and King T'Chaka in the show.
Yeah! Awesome. So, X-Men 97, cultural iconography.
Yes.
A movement, a staple. It is so many things. So, just to warm us up, if you had to vote for a particular mutant for office, which one would it be?
Oh, mutant, not X-Men.
It could be any of the mutants.
Oh,
Right
no,
now,
Yeah.
Magneto.
But not like Donatello, we're repping up.
Oh. All right. Well, yeah,
For me,
a
it's
Marvel
Magneto.
mutant.
Yeah, Marvel, yes,
Okay,
yes,
keep
yes,
it
yes.
in
A mutant
universe.
TM.
Yes.
Yeah. Trademark.
Oh,
Yes.
golly.
I'm waiting for somebody to pick Magneto.
I had just said Magneto.
Yeah.
I said it quietly, I guess.
Yeah.
But you guys, you said Magneto.
Chaos and
Magneto
anarchy.
I know.
is right.
Man, I mean, go for it.
And your answers can change.
I would maybe lean in to Henry McCoy. Maybe.
Okay.
But it really depends on where you are in the X-Men storytelling, right?
Mhm.
Because
That's true.
there's some bad stuff that this guy chooses to do if you go a little more recently in the books. There's some bad stuff. But then I think they rebooted him back to being like a full good guy, so that's
why
nice.
terms aren't lifelong.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, so
Yeah.
Beast circa like original run of the show or our show, because I feel like he's still a good, thoughtful, well-read dude.
Love
Yeah.
Oh my
Nice.
stars and garters.
That will be his campaign slogan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my stars and stripes.
Yeah.
I think he'd have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make
Gar-
him just-
garters has
But on
implications.
garters.
Yeah.
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 Man, it's a classic answer, I think, but just the opposite of Magneto, Professor X, I think, is someone I would.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Go with for like clear reasons, but just him as a character, I've always identified with in a lot of ways. So.
And also, he could mind manipulate people,
Right, that'd be...
Yeah.
which is
That
not
too.
ethically problematic at all.
Yeah, no, not at all, JP.
It would not be Magneto for me.
I-
He said he would save me.
Aw.
I was
Well,
actually-
he said don't be afraid.
David, it's funny you said that. I was actually going to say Leech just because we know he is pure of heart.
Well, there we go.
Vote me.
Awesome. So we are Nerds Who Vote. If you are interested in learning more about NerdsVote, visit nerdsvote.com. You can register to vote. You can check your registration to make sure that it's up to date. Sometimes if you've moved or they purge voting rolls every once in a while, so just make sure that you're on the rolls, even if you think you are. And if you're under 18, you can pledge to start voting when you are 18. Or if you're like, I've done all that, then you can buy some swag or donate to us as we continue our quest to make sure all nerds are voting. So since we are Nerds Who Vote, what is something that is an issue that's important to you that you consider when looking at a candidate or a ballot measure or something?
Competence?
Or at least the perception of competence, right?
No
One
competence.
would
I
hope-
need them to actually
One would
be
hope
competent.
actual competence, but how do we know
Yeah.
if somebody's
Um,
untested?
Um,
So maybe track record contributes
Sure.
to competence. I like that idea.
track record demonstrates an understanding of the issues, able to articulate themselves well. You know, I was about to say consistency, but people can change their minds. People do come around on various different things. But
Sure.
but I do think like a history of looking at their voting history and you know the consistency of whether they have have put their money where their mouth is, or acted in accordance of what they said they would do, previously.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I think a lot of social issues particularly stand out sort of in my brain. That's where I'll start with the person, because I want to know that when they're coming in, they're going to be good to people, not just good to pocketbooks.
Right.
I think there's a lot of a lot that you can learn about whether or not you align with someone based on your sort of stance on how they want to treat folks.
Absolutely.
That sort of transitions into what I was thinking too. I can't think of a specific issue, but empathy that's not performative. Honest empathy that like really seems to connect with the people that they're talking to or about. That doesn't come from a place of I'm gonna give a show and then later
Right.
on change it. But yeah,
Do you
honest.
think they would act the same way if nobody was looking?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
that's my
Yeah.
biggest tell people.
But again, doesn't that come down to it's this weird thing, and maybe it's me being pessimistic, but isn't it perception? Unless we have track records, unless we have like legitimate, I'm gonna be redundant, records of what they have done in the past or where they have shown up and put their money where their mouth is. I am so crappily skeptical of folks who are attempting to run for office, be it in our union or in our union. Anybody who's doing that, unless I know them personally or I've seen a track record of positivity and inclusion and intelligence and empathy and all of that, I do have such a thick line of skepticism in me to where, my first reaction to you was the perception of, at least, the perception of empathy. But yeah, you really just so deeply hope that those things are real, right?
Yeah, for sure. And you see a lot of it in where they accept money. Are they accepting money from small donations? Are they accepting money from corporate donors? And if it is corporate donors, are they corporate donors that align with your belief system, or is it it's? And are they being transparent about who they are accepting money from, or is it lip service? Yeah. All those things.
This
So-
is me bringing the mood in the room down.
Yeah.
No,
So
you're
the-
being
It's just
real.
that, like,
Oh, go ahead.
I was trying to think of whether competence is wider or a narrower thing than the perception of where they stand in empathy and all of that stuff, because plenty of people can have great intentions and stuff like that, but if you can't do stuff, then like that's very nice for you, but like who can actually affect anything?
Right.
Who actually knows how things work
Well,
and can do stuff.
And I think sometimes my concern with competence is that, like a great band, you can have a really, really fantastic front man, front person, who knows nothing about music and nothing about how to write a song, nothing about how to communicate an idea or play an instrument.
What makes them a good?
They could
Front
be
man, or front
they could
person.
be an incredibly charismatic front person, and then they've got the drummer, the bassist, the guitarist, all of those people behind them, supporting them and making them appear to be incredibly competent. And if they take the credit for that,
See, that's why
That's such a
appearance of competence is not good enough.
Right,
They have
yes,
to
no, I
actually be
agree.
competent.
Until they have their solo career, we're seeing what they're really made of.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
So the X-Men universe is filled with all sorts of politicians, both perhaps well-meaning and deeply corrupt, and some of them who are really just Mystique.
We're just being real here.
Which are not mutually exclusive to either terribly corrupt or.
Yeah.
So, as far as David, you were talking about social issues and the way that feels like a nice beginning litmus test. What as far as the X-Men's connections to social issues, what do you love most about the X-Men's lens of that?
Oh, it's going to be a funny way to articulate it because they sort of differentiate within the mythology of humans and mutants. but I do think that there's an overarching idea of people are people are people are people are people are people for a lot of the sort of heroes in the stories or in the X-Men stories. Is that like, okay, what we really would love you to be taking home is that you're not that different from me, from you. We're people. We may not all be humans within that mythology, but we've all got such different identities. Okay, we're still people.
Right.
All the other trappings shouldn't divide us in the ways that they do, and I love that about the mythology, is that in an ideal Charles Xavier world, it's like, oh, you're a mutant, I'm a person, okay, what's your name? Chuck? David. Cool. You like football? No? Okay, cool. You like video games? Let's talk about video games.
Yeah.
Like, it's that sort of part of the whole thing, and I always loved that growing up, and I love that how it can be sort of analogous to our world, right? How you can compare it to like, okay, being mutant is being somehow othered in our actual existence. Well, why are we gonna do that? Is it really worth it? No. And somebody else's sort of like other characteristic might be their superpower, and don't you want them around with that? That's awesome. Like, have
We're certainly on your side.
like more is more when it comes to having quality people around, and like if you're gonna differentiate quality based on these immutable characteristics, like whether or not you're a mutant, well, that sucks. If you're a bad person, well, get out of here. I don't want you in my orbit. I'm a really big fan of curating my existence in that way. But if you're a good person, if you're a good person, I'm happy to have you over. Come to supper. Let's go.
Yeah.
I love that about it.
Yeah.
I want you to call it supper from now on.
I was
I
just
want to be
thinking.
invited to
I was
it.
just thinking. I got caught on the word supper earlier.
Well, I think too, that's why art is so powerful, because it can have those thoughts come through even subconsciously. I feel like as kids watching the show, I think those ideas were sort of imbued in us watching it, and we might not have even been aware of it or reading the comics or whatever, but I love that as you go through this whole thing, there are layers to it that you discover as you are different ages or different experiences, and I think that's why it's so infinite in how they can tell the story with the X-Men. It's so cool how that all works out.
Yeah, as long as you're not the kid who's like Barney on How I Met Your Mother, who's idolizing Billy Zabka.
Yeah.
That's the Karate Kid. Well, actually, I think it's Machio.
Yeah.
I think it's Machio.
Yeah.
You might not have taken
Don't tell
the
me
right
how to
lessons.
interpret this word.
Yeah.
Although I will
There are
say,
exceptions.
in our world, that's the Magneto fans
Right.
versus these, and I
Magneto versus
respect
Charles.
both sides.
Well,
Yeah,
that's true,
yeah,
too.
totally.
Yeah, there's a lot of when you're talking about the different, like you were just saying, there's an infinite number of ways to tease out sort of different outcomes, different opinions, different iterations of any particular issue.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty much what it is. Like any given issue has the X-Men and mutants in general, as portrayed, are not a monolith, and that's the problem, and that's also the great thing. Is like, you're making your team comp. It's not very interesting if every single person has the same power and has the same. You need.
We're losing you. We're losing you. It happens every stream. He leans back.
You need
Just
to
taking it all
pull
in.
in everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are so many different opinions that it's just as diverse as the world that we live in that doesn't have mutants in it, right? There are different manifestations. There are mutants that are human passing. There are Morlocks. There are aliens. There are things like that. But there's a different response to all the same stimuli. There's like the team mindset. There's the like, yeah, screw teams. I don't do teams. I go where I want to go. There is the there's the grown up and the sort of like kid perspective. There is there are people who love being mutants and cherish that about themselves, and there are people who are very self-loathing and can't stand it's the worst thing that ever happened to them that they have mutant powers. And then human response to mutants, same thing. There are some that are like, mutants are great, love them, some of my best friends, etc.
Put them on an island.
Some of my best friends are here.
Right, some of my best friends. There are some that are like true allies. There are some that are hateful. That's Everybody's there's every possible response to stimuli is exists within the X-Men.
I got a question
Question
for you
from the back.
guys. If you could each be any mutant in the X-Men universe, who would you be? And if you can't think of a specific person, maybe there's a specific power you'd like. I can add those both together.
I've always had this answer since well before I was involved with this show. It's Morph. It has always been Morph from when I was a kid, especially once I started acting. Because the idea of being able to fully transform physically as well as with your skill, like, what a gift for an actor. Like, you could play anybody, anytime, and in our field, particularly with the voice acting, somebody who just loves to change his voice anyway. If I could physically change my equipment in the booth, my options would be unlimited.
You would be the only person working in the industry.
Well, I would never take all the jobs because I like working with my friends too much.
That's valid.
But
You're like,
You'd still be limited by
just
time.
more jobs.
yeah.
Some of the impressionists, like Jordan Peele, I'm convinced that he has some sort of shape-shifting apparatus for like the bones. And
Have
his
you
Yeah.
met D.
No.
Bradley Baker? That
I
guy's a
haven't,
mutant.
but yeah.
Like the sounds that come out of his face hole.
Yeah.
Just what?
Yeah.
Excuse me, face holes. Because he'll just move them, and then there's another sound coming. Like.
Yeah, when he did a bear fighting, I was just I was horrified,
Yeah.
but also amazed.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the long-winded version of Morph, and it's not just because I'm sucking up to JP.
You remember
Well, you can't have them.
They've been spoken for?
You remember in the original X-Men the animated series when Morph had gone away, but then they were back when Dark Morph sort of came around. They were on stage playing Jekyll and Hyde. Like this was their their day job.
Yeah, and in a tent in front of an all-male audience. It was Fire Island. Did anybody,
I don't think anybody else has weighed in on their power.
Yeah.
It's a hard choice.
It
I'm
is.
sorry.
I forgot what the question
I
was.
don't know.
other mutant
It must be just because my first experience with the whole thing was the movies, and the cartoon shows and the movies were more in my brain just because I think that's stuck because I was a little older. But Nightcrawler is always something that the power just seems so cool. I'm just now learning about how amazing travel is. I went out of the country for the first time this year, and
I didn't know that was your first time.
Yeah.
Yay,
Yeah.
congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, finally. And so going to another space, or just, everybody's got that desire to just like, I don't want to be here right now. I gotta get out, or even just wanting to just see something else. And just I felt like his whole soul was present with his character all the time. Like there was never a moment of like blocking or not feeling how someone else was feeling or not being part of the move toward good. At least from my perception of him as a character. So yeah.
Plus, then you get the fun accent.
Yes, exactly. The fun accent. Yeah.
Wait,
Like
the
German
whimsy.
the accent comes with the powers?
The accent is the source of all the powers.
Yeah.
The appearance is just a coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, you apparently
Soon
can't be
I'm going
Nightcrawler.
to stop teleporting them.
Look, you only pretend it's prehensile tail from right now.
Yeah, when
Oh,
Kurt
sorry.
is near that, is near Leech, he just becomes a New Yorker.
Yeah.
Gee. When I was a kid, the answer hands down would have been Rogue.
Valid.
Yeah, because she can fly and she's super strong. What more do you want? And she can have anybody else's powers that she
Yeah.
wants.
Yeah,
She
she's got
notoriously would be like everybody. in
Yeah.
the
She's the
universe.
if you could only eat one thing for the rest of your life,
Yeah.
she's the answer sandwich.
Yeah.
Because then you can have so many different sandwiches.
Yeah. No.
But it's not. But it has changed, or no?
I don't know. I think as a kid, the whole implications of never being able to touch somebody didn't really, because as a little kid, I'm not thinking about that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah,
whatever.
cooties, get away from me.
Yeah,
That was
Yeah.
the same way. That
It's
was
not-
like,
I
okay.
think
Yeah.
as an adult,
Not a big deal.
I don't know if I would choose that, but I don't know. Maybe I would. Maybe it's worth it.
You're like, I'm tired of people.
I'm thinking about it more. As actors, I think the shape-shifting does appeal, the mystique and the morph and the
Yeah.
Mhm.
that of the world.
Sure.
Plus, then you'd be a lovely shade of blue.
Or only if I want to.
Only if you want, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, that feels like a missed opportunity that they never exhibited Mystique's chameleon powers in the movies, where she's just looks exactly the same as just cycling through colors. Now I'm yellow.
As I was just thinking
Randall.
Randall and Monsters Inc.
Turns plaid.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say that we were talking earlier about on-camera actors and what that visibility has to do with, like, you know, either being recognized or you know, the level of engagement that changes, you know. But I will say that there was a TV show called Players that I was on, where the two like most recognizable characters, like the main guy, and then like there's, you know, there was the main guy, second main guy, and then the third guy, and then I would say that I was fourth. But so in terms of like positions like on the team, but the first and third guy, we would go to we went to a couple of League of Legends like World Championship events and things like that, and the two guys were getting recognized like left and right, and not to say that like it's got to do with you know, whether I would be recognized even if I looked exactly the same, but when it's very easy to Clark Kent it, you know? All I have to do is like put your hair in a ponytail, nobody knows you were on that show, you know?
I call it conditional fame.
Sure.
Like when we go to cons and stuff like that. If
if you step away from your
at the table and my name is behind me,
right,
people know who I am.
Right, exactly.
But when I walk out on the floor,
sure.
Unless I have like a shirt from the show or something like that.
Yeah, but like I think we kind of already have the shape-shifting power. It's sort of like I can camouflage anytime I want to. I just like, you know, put a sweatshirt on.
Yeah, I always call it. I mean, child of the '90s, I call it Lisa Loeb. Like, you know, she takes the glasses off, and it's just like,
yeah.
Where'd she go? Where does Lisa Loeb?
What would your answer be?
What mutant would I be?
Or powers.
I think. See, the thing is I would say, like, for me it's teleportation, but so I would say Nightcrawler, but he's so limited in, like, he has to see where he's going usually, or it's like it's a limited distance. It's not just.
It's a real risk if he can't see it.
Yeah. I'd want to be able to teleport, like, you know.
Cable can, like, body slide, but I think that's got its own limitations, too.
Yeah.
Well, and that's more tech, right?
The
it's
metal
not
arm
his power,
feels like a lot. Like, and also the
well, you're in the two-person club with Winter Soldier. It's like,
Yeah. I wonder.
Is it the same arm? Do they like?
Well, see, that's the thing. I think is Winter Soldier's original arm was not detachable, but the Wakandan arm is detachable and dishwasher safe.
Although they made
That's
the
the
point of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that.
So you'd probably want to be like Wraith then, like just jumping to different points in space, like any. Point
Yeah, yeah. I'd actually like to be what's her name, Clea. Charlize Theron from Doctor Strange, where she just like gets that knife and she rips like
just like
a hole and just can walk
she's
through.
like, this is fake.
Yeah.
Well, you
That-
could be a Sorcerer Supreme and make like portals.
I mean, I feel like that's who I am.
You ever get stuck on that idea about like time travel, that like you would actually have to do time and space travel, because if you traveled back in time, the Earth wouldn't be where you left it.
Right.
So you would have to go back
Oh,
in
yeah.
time to a position where the Earth was, where you are.
Maybe there's some
Which
kind
is
of
wild.
maybe there's
That's
some
too
kind
much
of
nerd
inertial
for me,
thing.
man.
Right?
Yeah.
It's spatial and temporal.
But maybe there's a kind of
I love
inertial thing that is inherent to the power, in the same way that we don't have to exercise gravity.
It's like you're
Gravity's
dropping an
actually
anchor
on
point.
us, right?
Ah,
So
okay.
like
We're automatically drawn.
right,
to
maybe
the Earth.
right, maybe
Yeah.
where you're maybe wherever you're teleporting is already like doing that calculus of like this is the equivalent spot.
I mean, I'm
And it
I'm
should
down
also
with
be
that.
even if you don't want it to go to the exact same spot, because what if there's, you know, anything, a bus or a house
Well, yeah,
or,
because
or
when
like
people
anything there,
teleport,
like, you know.
like when they pop out the other side, they're not automatically going the same speed they were before they, you know, like if something
Yeah.
happened where they were falling. And
That's why I think the tear in the hole is like you see where you're going. It's like, oh no, I don't want to go there. Over here, you know.
Well, I mean, that could be you could solve that with directional teleportation, right? Like if you're falling and you've got like a gate,
Yeah,
because if
then
you're
you're,
a
like,
gate
go through.
teleporter, you just have to put your gate up then, so that when you fall
Like
through,
Portal.
you're going up,
Oh,
and then and then you slow down enough, and then you can
Yeah, and then you.
make your gate that
The
lets
kid
you
learning
puts
to
you down
use
to
just
the ground.
Yeah,
who's just learning to use their powers just can only ping pong themselves.
Yeah, that's probably what would happen.
Yeah. Slow.
Rosamel does this in Smurfs 2025. Just throwing that out there.
Hmm?
Oh yeah,
Another
it's true.
mutant.
In fact, it does.
Yeah, he
You've
does.
experienced what that
Yeah.
feels like emotionally.
I was like, hold on. Call back.
Yeah.
That'd be funny if the power doesn't have that sort of inertial transfer. So you do have to do that calculation and you do it wrong. Where oh no, there's a bus coming at
Yeah.
me. I'll teleport this way, but because it was 10 minutes ago and the Earth is hurtling through space,
Yeah.
I just teleported to the exact same
Yeah.
spot that I was, and I get hit by the bus again.
Yeah.
That's,
Mm.
I would watch an entire show that was like
It feels like something that would
That
happen
was
on
math.
Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Where it's just
just
like
learning
Yeah,
teleportation.
it's just nothing
Yeah.
but getting
Ah!
repeatedly hit by a bus and
Right.
redoing.
Yeah. Wow, what a time to be alive.
Yeah.
I love nerdy stuff. I used to work at a comic book store.
Imagine it watching a show that's just trying to tweak
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
stuff. I flash
Yeah.
on MythBusters.
Well-
that's what made me. That's what it made me.
Yeah,
do.
some of the best
That's
time
right.
travel things are when they repeatedly try to do stuff and they can't ever fix it or change it.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just interesting to watch where you're like, damn,
Yeah. Like
That sucks.
themselves.
exactly.
The only problem we couldn't solve.
Yeah.
It wasn't so.
Isaac, you were bringing up earlier. We were talking about travel,
Yeah.
things that make us feel good. You got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Aside from specifically leaving the country for a short time or a long time,
Yeah.
what are some of the ways that this is for everybody? What are some of the ways that you navigate stressful moments, internally or externally?
Mm.
You know.
Well, my practice is not. I'm not super on top of my practice, but I have
Who is?
meditated at
Yeah.
least once a day since October of 2018. It
So
It-
good.
was sometimes twice a day, and it hasn't been in a long time.
Mhm.
Sometime. I mean, even now, the one that I have a day, I'm kind of crappy about it. I go
You
to
phoning it in?
Some of it, yeah. Ideally, I'd do it as soon as I wake up, and then before I do anything else. But
But
I
you
have
doom scroll.
I have definitely for the last couple of years. I think since pandemic, been guess I'll waste an hour and a half dicking around on my phone before I get to that meditation. I'm sure that meditation's gonna do a
Yeah.
lot of good right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes slacking off is also part of how you handle stressful
Yeah.
stuff.
That's valid.
Totally.
I like to lift. That
Really, I couldn't
Yeah,
tell.
because do you live through?
well, it is sort of this. There is a meditative quality to it a lot of times because it's just let's just do this thing, get it done. It's counting. I am a big fan of video workouts, something like P90X, right?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
that in particular, I find a little more meditative than a lot of other things where I have to be sort of more personally accountable because it's like set it, forget it, and as long as you just do
Just
what
follow
he tells
that
you to
thing.
do,
If you're
I'm
doing
not consciously worried or thinking about the other things. I'm just doing.
Yeah.
If you're doing a workout without following a video and you're just putting on music, do you find that you start thinking about your mind wanders? And stuff?
It depends on what I'm doing. If I'm doing cardio, a lot of times, yes. Which is why in cardio, if I'm trying to relax, I'll wind up putting on TV.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Right.
You know, I'll get on my treadmill and just watch something so that I'm not getting stuck in my head and
I
thinking
do
about
that. Yeah.
the physical issues or the other whatever is going on in my life. I'm invested in story in that way. But that leads me into my other really great stress killer is I watch a ton of TV.
What are you on right now?
I just finished Mad Men.
Oh, that's
For the first time I watched Mad Men, I was like, okay, this is a really interesting show with a lot of casual adultery and alcoholism.
Welcome to Zig.
But some interesting
Yeah.
storytelling too, and some great performances. I'll watch tons of different cartoons and all that. A lot of times for work, just to keep up with trends and know what's going on. And I find that I love our job so much that I find that incredibly fulfilling.
Sure.
Which then does lessen my baseline stress a lot of times.
Do you work out around people or are you solitary?
Actually, I've been working out with Vincent a lot.
That's right.
At the
Yeah,
gym.
yeah.
We'll go to Vincent Martella, who plays Phineas, to my Ferb. We work out at the gym together, and it's cool.
Planning heists.
Like good to have a buddy to do that. But I do also really like having the stuff at home.
Yeah.
The equipment at home, because then you're not questioning like, am I gonna have this available? Am I gonna blah, 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 blah. So having a good setup at home is incredibly convenient when I need that more meditative sort of let me get it out.
Totally.
I hope there's fan art eventually of Phineas and Ferb
Working
out
out.
of the gym.
Yeah.
Together, like,
Yeah.
That's Hans and Franz.
And of course, Ferb is like benching. Like
yeah, 1,000. Yeah.
They have had in 2 different occasions. There was one episode in the original run where Phineas jokes about them having a summer workout course that didn't do anything,
Mhm.
and then Ferb is behind him and he just goes and like hulks out.
Yeah.
And then there was an interstitial recently where they were shooting superpowers from a beam, and Phineas got super strong. So there's like a swole Ferb and there's a swole Phineas available out there in the world, which is funny.
Great. Another Funko Pop.
Hey!
Yeah.
Isaac, what about you? Stress relievers.
Stress relievers. I mentioned a little bit of in the last segment, but music is a big one for me. So playing piano is a big one. If there's music that I have discovered, I listen to stuff. That's what was my first intro to this whole deal, was music and sounds anyway. So that if I can go see something live, like live theater, or just something that gets me out of the apartment, just out of my environment, I love. And I have been doing more of that recently, which I really value a lot.
What are some live shows that you saw recently?
I just saw the Neil Diamond musical that came through.
Oh, nice.
It was excellent. So that was great. And then I guess I go to the movies a lot too. The most recent thing I saw was The Long Walk, which was phenomenal and
Was it?
stressful time.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll take your word for it. I've been watching that preview and going, do I want to watch this?
You should watch it while you do cardio.
Well, here's
They had screenings for that apparently, right?
Yeah, there was a promotional screening where they brought treadmills into the theater, and if you didn't make it,
Like the 3
you
miles
Got
an
kicked
hour.
out?
yeah, you got kicked out of the theater. Yeah.
Did you do one of those?
No.
No.
If
No,
you
but
make it, they beat
yeah.
you.
He was like,
senseless.
it's about de-stressing.
I'm also a huge. Stephen King's had such a boom lately with his stories, and it's just such a fun, and it's fun and horrifyingly relevant story. Like, given that the story was written like 30 years ago, came out.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
So
but that's just
many
my
things
opinion.
are horrifying.
Well, and previews, trailers, you never
Yeah.
can really judge it.
No.
But it wasn't like that one. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
well, I don't. This is only going to end one way,
Yeah.
but maybe it doesn't. Maybe there's another way that it can end.
Yeah.
I also like seeing Mark Hamill in that
Yeah.
that role was really fun.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's always interesting to me when a preview clearly when a movie very clearly deserves a better trailer, or that the trailer completely tanks a movie's performance.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking. So when I remember, I don't remember what year it was. I think it was early aughts, but like The Family Stone. I remember that the commercials
wow,
were
I
like.
forgot about
It's like
It's a draw. It's
they
part of the
literally
drama.
used that song,
Yeah.
and there was like, it's a family Christmas comedy or whatever, and you watch it and you're like, why did they tell me that this was the movie?
Yeah.
There were people who would have come to see it for what it was. Instead, you tricked a bunch of people into
Yeah,
being very sad.
it's a tactic.
Well, then you capsize any potential for
Right.
word of mouth.
Totally.
It was a bait and switch. It was a bait and switch.
Jimmy Stewart's like,
It was a bait and switch.
Perfect.
What about
what was
you?
your distressor?
Also movies. I love my little Fandango thing that I see a movie a month.
Did you used to do Movie Pass when that was a thing?
I did not. Because that all.
Oh, I do
there was
AMC.
Yeah,
nothing.
I was
There was
gonna say, I
nothing
was
about
an
Movie
AMC,
Pass
I
that
was-
didn't feel like scam to me. Like.
I did it.
Oh, I
for
did it.
like,
It was great for a while.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty. It was too good to be true, and
Yeah.
indeed it was too
Yeah.
good to be true.
And I think also, I might have had a 9 to 5 at the time, so I think I was just like, I'm just not gonna get there enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I do make a point, and I usually go myself, and I just like to just kind of sink into that.
Yeah.
Also seeing live theater, like that's always great, and playing with the dog, who's a jerk, but I like to play with him.
Speaking of de-stressors, who has pets? You have.
I do not.
Yeah.
I want one.
We got a Winnie.
You loser. All right. Well, I think that wraps up our X-Men hour.
Who registered to vote?
Yes.
Yes.
If you haven't and you're just joining us, remember to visit NerdsVote.com, where you can register to vote. You can check your registration to make sure that you are registered and that your information is correct. You can pledge if you are under 18 that you will vote when you are 18, which you should. And you can also get swag, donate to our cause, and just find out more about what we're up to. This has been the X-Men 97 crew. Before we go, let's go down the line. Tell us where people can find you and find out what
Can
you're
you
up
also add a really good question here? What part of yourself do you bring
to. Oh,
to the X-Men characters you voice?
Oh, that's a good one.
So
Oh.
tell us where to find you and what you bring to your character.
okay. I'm JP Karliak. You can find me at JP Karliak on Instagram or jpkarliak.com. Also at NerdsVote. And what do I bring to my character? Oh, my queerness and my ability to push through trauma using humor.
Yay!
I'm Holly Chou, so I just have Instagram to promote my upcoming appearances, including LA Comic Con next weekend.
Yeah.
Is it next weekend? Next weekend.
It is.
And New York Comic Con. So my Instagram is at Holy Cow Holly Chow.
Oh my
Chow
God, I love
spelled
that.
CHOU. And what do I bring to my character? I mean, what do you bring to any character that you play? I would say that I bring a near obsession. I won't call it an obsession. A great enthusiasm for X-Men, and the sort of youthful, let's just call it a mature perspective that Jubilee can sometimes have.
Woo.
But she's growing. And I bring that to you.
You can find me at Errigo ERRIGO voice on most social platforms. I'm not very active on a lot of them, but Instagram is probably where you'll find me most readily. I like to think that for Leech, what I get to do is bring the remaining optimism that is in me, because I do have there's an optimistic streak despite my cynicism and my skepticism about certain things in the world, but I do hope for better and want very much to believe that there can be better, and I think that that's just intrinsic to Leech's being. There is also a little bit of a lunatic in me, which is what I bring to Mojo, which is why I have so much fun in the booth with him, because it's just like, hey kid, go on the park and play. Go on the playground and play. Okay. And Gladiator, I think, is a little more of the difficult, rigid, structured stuff. Some of it that I got by proximity, by growing up on military bases. I think he's got a little bit of that, and I can access that by having seen it a lot. I did Banshee for like 4 lines. I bring his voice. And you know, there's sometimes we all have to have a level of obsequiousness on occasion, and that's what I brought to the Royal Messenger. Very, very, you know, trying to. Okay. Yeah.
Awesome.
You can find me at IRS Voices on most things.
Like the government agency?
Yes. I get a lot of money every April. And what do I bring? I feel like sometimes it's reversed. I feel like the character gives me stuff that I get to think about. My own version of the Black experience, which I'm constantly questioning, confused, celebrating in my own weird way and trying to figure that all out. And also Bishop's, and I've said this a bunch of times before, but his journey into finding where he belongs, because it's not really anywhere stable necessarily, because he goes through so many different times, and one time is technically home, but it's not really where he wants to be anymore, so he finds, you know, somewhere else, or tries to save somewhere else for the sake of where he was. So that idea of finding your actual home, you know, despite where you've been told this is where you belong.
Oh, this is so We're like, okay, I think
We're crying behind camera. It's fine.
Awesome. Coming up next is it's NerdsVote and Friends, right?
Yeah.
NerdsVote and Friends. It's just kind of an all escape. We're going to be hanging out and,
Whoever drops in can drop in.
Yeah, just a big old drop in.
It's a little filler.
Stay tuned. We'll be back soon.
Bye.